Welcome to the Shigeki podcast, where science and longevity come together to help you feel stronger and live longer, one wise choice at a time. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, a physician who has spent decades exploring how food can either heal or harm the body. And today, I want to begin with a question that may surprise you: that sardines are often called the superfood of the sea. But did you know that if you eat them the wrong way, you might actually be turning this superfood into a burden on your body? Sardines have gained a reputation as one of the healthiest and most affordable sources of nutrition available. They are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, high-quality protein, vitamin D, calcium from their soft bones, and even trace minerals that support energy and brain health. For older adults, this makes sardines sound like the perfect choice when it's inexpensive, shelf-stable, and nutrient-dense. And before we go further, I want to introduce someone very special. He is a man whose wisdom on longevity has inspired generations. My dear friend and co-host, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Mark. As I've seen in my practice, how you eat sardines matters just as much as whether you eat them at all. Let me share a story. Kaito, a 68-year-old patient of mine, made sardines a daily habit. Every morning he opened a can of sardines in oil and ate the whole thing with white bread. He felt proud of his routine, telling me, "Doctor, I thought I was finally doing something good for my heart." But over time, Kaito began noticing problems. His blood pressure crept higher despite his medication. He felt heavy and bloated after meals. Blood tests showed elevated sodium levels and increased markers of inflammation. He was confused. How could a superfood be making him feel worse? The answer was clear once we looked closer. It wasn't the sardines themselves that were harming him. The problem lay in how he was choosing, storing, and pairing them. The type he bought was packed in cheap, refined oil loaded with sodium. He ate them daily without balance and always combined with refined carbs. Slowly, what could have been a healing food turned into a silent stressor on his body. And that's the twist. Many people miss sardines are not dangerous on their own. The danger comes from the common mistakes we make with them, mistakes that undo their benefits and even create harm.
Yes, Shigeaki. Sardines are indeed a remarkable food, rich, nourishing, and protective. But as we grow older, the body changes. After 60, our systems become more sensitive to things like excess salt, oxidized fats, and even trace metals in seafood. What younger adults may tolerate, older adults cannot. The same sardine that nourishes a young body can overwhelm an older one if eaten carelessly. That's why this conversation is so important. Sardines can either be a gift for your heart, brain, and bones, or they can add to your burden if you make the wrong choices.
So in this episode, we're going to reveal 10 of the most common and dangerous mistakes people make when eating sardines. These are mistakes that often go unnoticed but have real consequences, especially for seniors. More importantly, we'll show you how to fix them so you can continue enjoying sardines with confidence and reap their full benefits. By the end, you'll know exactly how to choose the right type, store them safely, and pair them wisely. That way, sardines will remain the superfood of the sea they're meant to be, not a hidden risk on your plate. So stay with us. And before we dive in, if you or someone you love is over 60 and wants to make the most of this incredible food, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast. What you learn today might completely change the way you look at a simple can of sardines.
Now, let's start with the mistakes that are directly tied to nutrition. These are the habits that quietly strip sardines of their most valuable nutrients, the calcium, vitamin D, and omega-3 fats that make them a true superfood. Many people don't realize that by eating them the wrong way, they are throwing away exactly what their body needs most after 60. One of the most overlooked mistakes when eating sardines is throwing away the soft bones. Many people feel uneasy about eating bones, thinking they'll be too hard or unpleasant. So they carefully pick out the flesh and discard the very part that makes sardines unique. But here's the truth: those tiny bones are one of the richest natural sources of calcium and vitamin D you can find in food. Calcium and vitamin D are critical after 60. They protect bone density, keep teeth strong, and even support muscle contractions and nerve signaling. Without enough of these nutrients, older adults face a higher risk of osteoporosis, fractures, and weakness. By tossing out the bones, you're also tossing out one of sardines' greatest gifts.
Yes, Mark, and the beauty of sardine bones is that they're not like the sharp bones of larger fish. When sardines are canned or cooked properly, their bones become soft, crumbly, and easy to chew. They blend seamlessly with the flesh, adding texture without discomfort. I often tell my patients that instead of buying expensive calcium supplements, simply eat sardines whole with the bones. It's affordable, natural, and comes in perfect balance with other nutrients like phosphorus and protein, which help calcium do its job.
The solution is simple. Don't separate the bones. Eat the sardine as it is, especially when it's canned. The bones are already softened and safe. By embracing the whole fish, you unlock its full nutritional power, strengthening both bones and muscles with every bite.
Sardines are often celebrated as one of the best sources of omega-3 fatty acids, and that reputation is well-deserved. But here's where many people go wrong. They assume that if a little is good, then a lot must be better. I've seen patients who eat 2 or even 3 cans of sardines every single day because they believe they're protecting their heart. Unfortunately, this habit can backfire.
Yes, when you eat sardines in excess, you're also taking in too many calories, which can lead to weight gain over time. More importantly, canned sardines often contain a significant amount of sodium. Eating multiple cans per day can push your salt intake far beyond safe levels, raising blood pressure and straining your cardiovascular system. There's another concern too, heavy metals. While sardines are lower in mercury compared to larger fish, eating them in very high quantities still increases exposure to other trace metals. For older adults whose kidneys and liver process nutrients more slowly, this extra load can create unnecessary stress on the body.
The solution is balance. You don't need to give up sardines, but you do need to enjoy them wisely. A safe and effective guideline is to eat sardines 2 to 3 times per week and limit each serving to 1 small can. This gives you the omega-3s, protein, and minerals your body needs without overwhelming it. In nutrition, more is not always better. With sardines, consistency and moderation are what truly bring long-term benefits.
One of the surprising mistakes I often see is people rinsing sardines underwater before eating them. They usually do this to wash away the oil, the salt, or simply to reduce the fishy smell. At first glance, it may seem like a harmless step, but in reality, rinsing sardines can actually wash away many of the nutrients that make them such a powerful food.
When you rinse, you're not just removing excess salt. You're also losing precious omega-3 fatty acids, the very compounds that protect the heart and reduce inflammation. Along with omega-3s, many of the vitamins in sardines, like vitamin D and vitamin E, are fat-soluble. That means they dissolve and are carried in the oil. By rinsing the fish, you dilute or discard these vital nutrients. And let's not forget the taste. Sardines are meant to be enjoyed with their natural oils, which keep the flesh moist and flavorful. Washing them makes them dry, bland, and far less satisfying.
The better approach is not to rinse, but to choose wisely from the beginning. If you're worried about too much sodium, simply buy sardines labeled low sodium, or those packed in water or olive oil, instead of heavily salted sauces. This way you protect your heart without sacrificing the natural nutrients. Remember that sardines are healthiest when eaten as they are straight from the can, paired with whole grains, fresh vegetables, or a squeeze of lemon. Don't wash away their goodness, let them nourish you fully.
Now that we've talked about nutrient mistakes, let's shift to another group of problems: the way sardines are stored and kept fresh. Even the healthiest food can lose its power or turn harmful if it's not handled correctly. And one of the most common errors I see is leaving an opened can of sardines out for too long. Many people open a can, eat half, and set the rest aside on the counter, thinking they'll finish it later. But what they don't realize is that after just 2 hours at room temperature, Sardines become a playground for bacteria. On top of that, the oils in the fish begin to oxidize when exposed to air. That oxidation not only spoils the taste, but also damages the very omega-3 fatty acids that protect your heart.
Yes, Shigeki. I've seen older patients complain of stomach upset or even mild food poisoning, and often the culprit is not the fish itself, but poor storage. For seniors with weaker immune systems, even a small dose of bacteria can cause diarrhea, dehydration, or dangerous complications. And once the healthy oils oxidize instead of calming inflammation, they may actually trigger it.
The fix is simple. If you can't finish the whole can, don't leave it sitting out. Transfer the leftovers into a clean glass container, cover it tightly, and store it in the refrigerator. Make sure to eat it within 24 hours for both safety and flavor. This small step keeps your sardines fresh, delicious, and truly beneficial.
Another mistake that many people make with sardines and canned foods in general is forgetting to check the expiration date and the condition of the can itself. It might feel like a small detail, but it can have big consequences. A can that is swollen, rusted, or past its expiration date is not just unattractive, it's unsafe. When a can is compromised, harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulinum can grow inside, producing toxins that may cause severe food poisoning. For older adults with weaker immune systems, even a small amount of contamination can lead to serious illness.
Yes, Mark, I always remind my patients that prevention starts at the store. Before you buy sardines, look carefully at the can. Is it clean, free of dents and rust? Is the expiration date still far ahead? And when you open the can at home, use your senses. If the lid is bulging, if the smell is off, or if the color looks strange, do not eat it. It is better to waste one can than to risk your health.
The solution is simple, but essential, is check every can before you purchase and again before you open it. Make it a habit just like washing vegetables or cooking meat thoroughly. By taking this extra moment of care, you protect yourself and your family from unnecessary danger while still enjoying all the benefits that sardines have to offer.
One of the reasons sardines are so popular is because canned versions are convenient and affordable. You can keep them in your pantry for months, open them in seconds, and have a quick source of protein and omega-3s. But here's the problem: when you rely only on canned sardines, you're missing out on the unique benefits of fresh fish. Fresh sardines naturally contain far less sodium than canned ones, which often rely on salt as a preservative. Too much sodium can raise blood pressure and stress the heart, a serious concern for people over 60. In addition, fresh sardines have a lighter, cleaner flavor that many find more enjoyable once they try it.
Yes, shigeaki. I often encourage my patients not to limit themselves to the can. Fresh sardines, when grilled, baked, or steamed, offer the same omega-3s and protein without the added salt or oils from packaging. And preparing them fresh can also make meals feel more varied and satisfying, preventing boredom and encouraging a healthier relationship with food.
The best approach is balance. Keep canned sardines for convenience, but whenever possible, switch things up by enjoying fresh sardines. Grill them with a squeeze of lemon, steam them gently, or add them to soups. By alternating between canned and fresh, you lower your sodium intake while still enjoying all the nutritional power sardines have to offer.
Now, let's turn to another group of mistakes, the ones that happen when we choose and prepare sardines. Even if the fish itself is nutritious, the way it's packaged and handled can completely change its impact on your health. One common error is always picking sardines packed in plain water, thinking it's the healthiest option. On the surface, water-packed sardines sound lighter, but in reality, water does not protect the delicate fats inside the fish. Without a layer of oil or sauce, the omega-3 fatty acids in sardines oxidize much faster. The result: dry texture, weaker flavor, and a loss of the very nutrients you bought the sardines for in the first place.
Yes, Mark. I often remind my patients that oil is not just for taste, it is also a shield. When sardines are stored in high-quality olive oil or tomato sauce, the protective barrier slows oxidation, and helps lock in nutrients. Olive oil adds healthy monounsaturated fats, while tomato sauce provides antioxidants like lycopene. Together, they preserve both freshness and nutritional power.
So instead of defaulting to sardines in water, choose varieties packed in extra virgin olive oil or tomato sauce. These not only taste better, but also keep the fish moist and nutrient-rich. It's a small shift in choice that makes a big difference in preserving the heart protective benefits of sardines.
One of the biggest hidden dangers in canned sardines is the salt content. Many brands rely on sodium as a preservative and flavor enhancer, which means a single can may contain 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium, nearly a quarter of the daily limit for older adults. For someone over 60 who may already be dealing with high blood pressure or stiff arteries, that much salt in one small serving can quietly add stress to the cardiovascular system. Eat it day after day, and the risks multiply.
Yes, and this is why I always ask my patients to read labels carefully. 2 cans of sardines might look the same, but the sodium content can be very different. Choosing high salt versions not only harms your heart, but can also increase water retention, leading to swelling in the legs or ankles.
The fix is simple. Choose sardines labeled low sodium. You can also wash it if you are afraid of salty. But the best way is to read the label carefully and choose the type of low sodium to protect the heart. If not available, accept to eat in small amounts instead of washing many times. Washing fish can reduce salinity on the surface, but at the same time lose part of the oil-soluble nutrients. So consider this as a temporary solution, not a habit.
Next, you know that sardines are naturally rich in healthy fats and protein, but many people accidentally cancel out those benefits by pairing them with the wrong flavors. A common example is eating sardines with heavy mayonnaise, cream-based sauces, or buttery spreads. These additions may taste indulgent, but they pack in unhealthy saturated fats and empty calories. Instead of protecting the heart, this combination puts extra strain on it, raising cholesterol, fueling inflammation, and adding unwanted weight over time.
Yes, Mark, I've seen older patients believe they were making a healthy snack by mixing sardines into creamy dips or spreading them on white bread with thick mayo. But these pairings dilute the natural strengths of sardines. Instead of enhancing omega-3's anti-inflammatory power, they bury it under processed fats and refined carbs.
The smarter approach is to match sardines with light, refreshing flavors that lift them up. A squeeze of fresh lemon or lime brightens their taste. Herbs like parsley or dill add aroma without calories. Tomato sauce not only blends well, but also adds lycopene, a strong antioxidant. And when paired with salad greens, whole grains, or brown rice sardines become part of a balanced, heart-healthy meal.
Finally, sardines are treasured for their omega-3 fatty acids, but those delicate fats are very sensitive to heat. When sardines are fried at high temperatures, especially in reused oil, the omega-3s break down and oxidize. Instead of reducing inflammation, they produce harmful compounds that may actually increase it. Over time, this can raise the risk of heart disease, joint pain, and faster aging of blood vessels. Many people enjoy sardines fried until crispy, but what they don't realize is that they're destroying the very nutrients they came for.
And the problem is even greater for older adults whose bodies are already more vulnerable to oxidative stress. A plate of fried sardines may taste satisfying in the moment, but it leaves behind compounds that burden the liver and inflame the arteries. It turns a superfood into something harmful.
The solution is choose gentle cooking methods. Steam or poach sardines to preserve their omega-3s. Light grilling or baking at moderate heat also keeps the flesh moist and the nutrients intact. And simmering sardines in tomato sauce adds not only flavor but also extra antioxidants from lycopene. This way you enjoy both taste and health in every bite.
As we wrap up today's conversation, let's remind ourselves why sardines have earned the name superfood of the sea. These small fish are packed with omega-3 fatty acids to protect your heart protein, to build and maintain muscle vitamin D, to strengthen bones and immunity and calcium from their edible bones. They are one of the rare foods that combine so many essential nutrients in such an affordable and convenient form. But here's the catch. The benefits of sardines are not automatic. The 10 mistakes we've discussed, from throwing away the bones, eating too many cans a day, rinsing them in water, to frying them at high heat, or pairing them with the wrong sauces, can quietly erase the very advantages you're looking for. In some cases, they can even turn this healing food into a source of harm. That's why awareness and smart choices are so important.
Before you rush out to stock up on sardines, there are a few important cautions. People with gout should be careful because sardines are high in purines, which can raise uric acid levels and trigger painful flare-ups. Those with high blood pressure need to pay attention to sodium, since many canned sardines contain 400 to 500 milligallons of salt per can, enough to strain the cardiovascular system. And for individuals with chronic kidney disease, the protein and minerals in sardines may place additional stress on the kidneys if consumed in excess. So while sardines are excellent, they are not a one-size-fits-all solution.
That is exactly the point, Mark. Sardines are a gift from nature, but like every food, they must be eaten with wisdom. I often tell my patients ke moi toten hung kan biet luong biet kash. The beauty of food is not in perfection, but in balance. Here's my message to everyone listening. There is no perfect food. There is only the right way to eat. Sardines can be one of the best allies for your heart, brain, and bones, but only if you enjoy them thoughtfully. My advice: have sardines 2 to 3 times per week. Choose versions packed in olive oil or tomato sauce with less salt, and always combine them with vegetables or whole grains for a meal that is both delicious and balanced.
Now it's your turn. Like, subscribe, and share this podcast if you or a loved one over 60 want to harness the power of sardines for better health. Please tell us in the comments, what's your favorite way to eat sardines: grilled, steamed, or straight from the can? Your next meal could be more than just food. It could be medicine for a longer, stronger life.